Hey guys, so it is right now currently as I'm recording this, and I thought honestly I wouldn't be doing this, but hey, one of the new channels that gets recommended to me because of some of the similar topics I talk about, miracle charms. Basically, they've been doing some videos on their theories and speculations of what they see coming up with Hazbin Hotel. But right now it is 5:21 p.m. as I am starting this Pacific time, and I would like to ask you guys to do me a favor before I get started, and that is to like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, and share the video if you can. Also, you can go to the description, and you will see links there to where you can find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. You can find me at all your favorite audio, video, podcast affiliates. You can find me at places like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and to an extent, Sirius XM. Also, you can find me at other video outlets like Rumble and Vimeo, Dailymotion, and Odyssey. The first two, Rumble and Vimeo, you'll find identical content to what you see here on the main YouTube channel, but also some content that may not be favorable to YouTube, but you can find it there instead. Also, you can find me at deviantart.com at BVW1979, and you can find me over at inkbunny.net at BWRosa. You can also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky and TikTok. Yes, I am on TikTok, I am on Blue Sky, and I'm on Twitter, all under the BWRosa's name. Also, I have a Venmo and a Cash App if you'd like to help out in that manner. That'd be greatly appreciated. And also, ladies and gentlemen, I have a Patreon. Yes, I have a Patreon. I do have plans to revise that a little bit. Not the tiers, not the payment tiers, but revise it to where it's going to help me out and you out in the long run, if you will. But I'll let you know when that's going to be, when the time is right. Also, guys, I have a couple of online stores. I have a Fourth Wall store. Check it out. I have a few items there. Two T-shirts with some graphic tees, if you will, as well as some, non-graphic items, but if you're looking for something for yourself or for your family during this holiday season, Christmas season if you will, that's the place to go at the Fourth Wall store. Link is at the top, and link is at the bottom for the OG Teespring store. So yeah, you can go there as well if you would like. Also, during the premiere of this video, the live chat will be open, so if you want to give your thoughts, come on in, give your thoughts on the topic here, as well as the super chats will be open. Yes, super chats will be open during the live chat if you want to donate as well, if you would like to help out. And during the video premiere and afterwards, comments will be open. And after the premiere, if you don't, come in during it, but listening afterwards, the super thanks option will be open as well. And also, before I forget, I do have a twitch.tv and a kick.com if you want to check those out as well. But with that said, let's get on to this topic. I'm just going to try to make this as short as I can because I think it's obvious what's going on here when you look at Lute. When it comes to Hazbin Hotel and why she is so obsessed, if you will. Why she is so obsessed with getting revenge, getting even with Charlie, getting even with hell and everything. You see, you can obviously figure out, why she is this way. And you would think that the way she described it before it got taken away from her, you would think that the way it was described, that her, basically taking charge, becoming like the new person in charge of the exorcist army and everything, inheriting all of Adam's deals and contracts and all that, all his responsibilities, you'd think, getting all that she'd be more like thrilled to be in charge now, right? That now being the right-hand woman she was to Adam, she's now the be-all end-all of the army, right? It's like she's the one that calls the shots. She has that power, she has that authority. So you would think, hey, her mindset should be like, I'm in charge now. Yeah, I've inherited a lot of Adam's deals and everything, but I don't have to do anything he actually did. I don't have to follow his, rules anymore. I don't have to follow his directions or his plans. I can do my own thing. You think Lute would realize that, right? You think she would realize that she's now in charge. She can now do her own thing. She doesn't have to follow what Adam originally had planned. She doesn't have to do the same things that Adam was originally doing. She doesn't have to basically be Adam 2.0, if you will. That instead she can be her own angel, her own archangel, if you will, exorcist angel, whatever you call him, or whatever she's being called. You think she'd be able to want to be that, be on her own, be on her own 2 feet, stand in fly with her own wings, if you will. You think she would want that, but no. Instead, she wants revenge. She wants to take out Charlie. And she basically is, at the end of season 1, she's like ordering Lilith, you got to take care of this daughter, this bitch daughter of yours, and what she's doing, you got to put her back in her place, or whatever the case may be. She's basically telling Lilith, I'm now, well, at that time, I'm now in control. I'm now in control of the deal you had with Adam originally. I now control it, so now you're listening to me. But again, you would think she wouldn't want to do that, and she'd want to do her own thing. She'd want to just, sit back and be like, okay, Adam's plan failed, so I'm going to just sit back and I'm going to just see what happens next. And when I'm ready, I'm going to take the fight to them, but I'm just going to leave it be, and I'll do it on my time. You think she'd want to do that, but no, she is almost I wouldn't say almost, she's completely obsessed to the point that she's getting these hallucinations, a la Green Goblin's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1 movie, if you will, which some people have used as an example. She's getting these hallucinations of Adam, and it's basically driving her even more crazy, even more upset, getting her to be more obsessive. But again, why? Why is she this obsessed? Why can't she just be like, you know what? This is all, Adam. It's on him. He allowed it to happen to himself. I'm just gonna move on. Take charge, of the army, and maybe try to fix what he broke. And when the time is right, that's when I'll plan my attack. But, she didn't do that. Instead, she got so obsessed, even during the trial of Serpentis, she got so obsessed, if you will, that basically she shot herself in the foot. She let this obsession to get revenge for Adam, to get even for Adam for what happened to him, she let it shoot herself in the foot, and Abel, Adam's son, became the person now in charge, and thus now she has to answer to him. She has to now answer to him outside of answering to Sarah and even up to the speaker of God. Now she has to just basically go back to the role she had, that being lieutenant. But I have a feeling she's not going to have that for long either, because a lot of people are predicting she's going to be the next fallen angel. I mean, you look at the more recent video that Miracle Chom put up, and a lot of people are basically stating, that, in the comment section that Lute's going to be that fallen angel. I know that Miracle Chom put a video out. I haven't watched it yet, but they put a topical question video out, or questionable topic video out, mentioning that Emily, the assistant to Sarah, is going to be the fallen angel that's next, or going to be the next fallen angel. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be Lilith, and it's going to be because of her obsession to get even for Adam. But why? Because it's obvious. It's obvious why, and I know I've taken a bit to get here. Let me check the time on here. Yeah, I'm almost gone to 10 minutes. I'm at 9.5 minutes here. But basically, it's obvious why she wants to get even, why she's obsessed. It's because Lute was in love with Adam. And there's a thumbnail, AI-generated thumbnail that is, that Miracle Chom's used that shows Lute kissing Adam. And thus, pretty much that's enough proof, even with Miracle Chom's, in that one video they did, about 2 weeks ago? even they're in their own way indicating, that's what Lute, Lute wants revenge for. She wants, she's obsessed to, take Charlie out or get Lilith, to take, put Charlie back in her place, that because of the fact that not only does she want to get even, with Charlie and with Hell and get revenge on them for what happened to Adam and for their defeat, the Exorcist army's defeat, but also the fact she wants to do it because, she blames Charlie, not Nifty, by the way, but Charlie, for taking away the love of her life, or the love of her heavenly life, if you will. And that's why initially she wants revenge. It's not because she wants to, basically take out Hell completely. It's because she wants to basically get back at Charlie and her crew for taking away the love of her heavenly life. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. Because, again, why would she be so obsessed with something that would obviously promote her instantly to the position that Adam was in, and then she can just do her own thing? Why would she be so obsessed with that, and instead of doing her own thing, planning her own directions and putting her own, her own spin on the Exorcist army so that they can eventually go back down and do what they have to do? Why wouldn't she want to do something like that? Move on, if you will. It's because she was in love. She was in love, but here's the thing. She couldn't let Adam know because of the positions they were both in. She couldn't let him know. She couldn't let Adam know that, hey, I'm in love with you. I want to be with you and all that. She couldn't let him know because, again, the position he was in and the position she was in. It's kind of like in real life employment. It's like in real life employment. Yeah, you can be a husband and a wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, working at the same place, but one can't be above the other in stature. Believe me, I know from experience. I used to be a breakfast manager at Burger King, and that kind of ruined any chance I had with this one girl who also worked at Burger King, who had a thing for me for a bit. But the point I'm getting at is you look at that as an example when it comes to Lute and Adam, and obviously Lute had these feelings for Adam, but she just could not. She could not. What's the word I'm looking for? She could not capitalize on them. That's the word I'm looking for. She could not capitalize on them due to the fact, that Adam was her superior. He was above her. He was up here, while she was just slightly below him. Just like the next in line. So she couldn't, really act on her feelings because of that. But now that he's gone, before she can even say anything, now she's pissed. She's obsessed. Because basically, unbeknownst to Charlie, unbeknownst to her friends and family there in Hell at the hotel, she is pissed. She is pissed because unbeknownst to them, they took away her love. And it's also unbeknownst to, I'm assuming it's unbeknownst to Sarah, Emily, Abel, and some of the other angels, including the Speaker of God. I'm assuming, I'm not saying it's legit, I'm assuming, that they were not aware of, Lute's feelings as well for Adam. Adam may have had an idea, but again, if he did, you think he would act upon it, maybe use that to his advantage, because I think what's going to happen here is Abel, she's going to confront Abel. She'll get desperate to the point that she'll confront Abel, maybe even, maybe even tell him, hey, I know something about Sarah that would basically make you decide maybe she's not fit and all that and da-da-da. Or she could basically tell Abel, hey, I know of something that could put you in the position of Sarah, because, she did something as well and everything. It could get her to, it's going to get her to be desperate and all that. But Abel, he's described as someone that doesn't want to fight. He doesn't like confrontation. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't like confrontation. So to me, what I'm guessing here, in my opinion, what I'm guessing here is Abel is going to tell her when she tries to basically manipulate him, he's going to surprise her by stating, look, I know what you're doing. I know you're trying to manipulate me. And maybe he even hints that, yeah, I know Sarah did something. Sarah made some kind of deal with a certain someone, but I'm not going to say because I don't have the proof and everything. And even if you do, I'm not going to, allow that to, allow me to, allow that to cloud my judgment, about Sarah. You know, I can see him standing up to her and then even saying, look, I also know that the only reason you want revenge for my father is because you were in love with him. I could see Abel calling her out about that. I could see him calling her, I could see that kind of a scenario playing out to where he catches on to what she's trying to do, acknowledges that maybe he has a hint and an idea that Sarah made some deal that brought Lilith up, but he's not going to say Lilith by name. But I can also see him, at the same time telling Lute, to her face, that the only reason he knows she wants revenge, so obsessively, is because she was in love with his father, and that the news he has for her, is going to shock her to her core. It's going to drive her even more crazy, because he's going to tell her, well, guess what? You might have been in love with my father, and that's what's causing your obsession for revenge, your thirst for revenge, to be so, sky high, if you will. But I've got news for you. My father never felt the same way about you. My father was just using you and every other exorcist army angel to his advantage. He never cared about you or anybody. I could see Abel saying something like that to her, and again, that would shake her to her core. Because again, it would drive her even more so to being over the edge, to the point that she'll basically be on the verge of taking that one last step before becoming the fallen angel that everybody feels she's going to be. So, in conclusion, at the end of the day, the reason for Lute's obsession for revenge, again, I think it's obvious. She was in love with Abel. I mean, not Abel. She was in love with Adam. She was in love with Adam, but she never got a chance to confess her feelings. She never got a chance to capitalize on that because of the positions both her and Adam were in, and also the fact that he basically passed on before she can even say anything. So that's why, to me, she is obsessed. She is obsessed. And also, you can't tell me that she doesn't know maybe about Vaggie, who was once an angel, an exorcist angel like her, the one that she has a rivalry with, the one who took her arm, because earlier on in the past, in a flashback, Lute took Vaggie's eye and wings. You can't tell me she doesn't know about Vaggie and Charlie's relationship and envies that and wanted that for her and Adam, and now she can't have it. Because Adam's not there. And it's driving her to this obsessive point to where, again, I think what's going to happen is she's going to try to manipulate Abel and letting him know, hey, I know something about Sarah, da-da-da. Abel's going to counter by acknowledging he knows about what Sarah did, but he can't, say, whether or not it's true. And that even if, Lute has proof of it, he's not going to let that cloud his judgment about Sarah. And that in reality, he knows what this is about, this whole thing is with Lute. And this whole thing with Lute is that Lute wants revenge because she was in love with Adam. But the reality, and this is what's going to drive her even more so over the edge, the reality he's going to hit on her is that Adam never cared about her in return. He never cared about her or anybody else, just himself. So in conclusion, that's what this is about. It's about Lute wanting revenge for the love of a heavenly life that was taken from her, that she never got a chance to confess her feelings to. That's what this is, and it's just going to basically build more to her downfall, as we get closer and closer to the end of Season 2 and build into Season 3. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. I think you'll enjoy what you see in those areas as well. Support me outside of YouTube as well. But give me your thoughts if you didn't do so already in the live chat. Give me your thoughts down below in the comments. And also, Super Thanks will be open in just a few minutes, guys. But let me know what your thoughts are on this. Do you agree or not agree? And until next time, I am out.